Raceway near Gainesville, Florida, the 20th annual Motorcraft Gatornationals is unfolding in front of a huge crowd with some of the finest weather ever to grace this first race on the eastern seaboard. This is in McCulloch. Driver of the Miller Highlight Oldsmobile out of the San Jacinto, California-based team of Larry Minor. Competition, R.C. Sherman from Frederick, Maryland, his body style, a Pontiac Sunbird. After more than 2 decades at this sport, this is one of the finest showings ever for R.C. Sherman. He qualified in the number 9 spot, not an enviable position to be in, because that means in round number 1 of competition, you have to race the number 1 qualifier. In this case, R.C. Sherman beat Mike Dunn. Ed McCulloch qualified number 5 with a fine 5:39 elapsed time, and in his first round race was matched against the most recent winner on the NHRA Winston Championship Trail, that is Scott Coletta. It was at Houston and the France Supernationals that Coletta won his first ever title. He was in the near lane in his first round competition, McCulloch in the far lane. A close race to the finish line, but McCulloch was the victor and advanced into round number 2, where he now faces R.C. Sherman. 11 times in his career, Ed McCulloch has visited the winner's circle at an NHRA national event. R.C. Sherman has yet to notch his first victory. Both cars set. And up in smoke, loss of traction for R.C. Sherman. McCulloch just coasts through as he has some mechanical problems, but McCulloch is the winner and advances into the semifinals of Funny Car Eliminator. His time a very slow 6.47 seconds. He is very vulnerable to losing lane choice in the semifinals. Our next pair features the 4-time and reigning Winston champion, the Budweiser King, Kenny Bernstein. Buick Riata-bodied car is racing against the Oldsmobile of Bruce Larson, the hottest driver on the circuit this season. Both drivers unleashing some 4,000 horsepower apiece to get those huge tires spinning through that funnel of water. This exercise, known as a burnout, is a necessary part of the sport of championship drag racing. It does 2 things primarily. It gets the tires hot and clean, and it lays down a track of rubber on the surface. Kenny Bernstein qualified in the number 2 spot with a 5:33, while his competition, Bruce Larson, was the number 6 qualifier at a 5:39. As the car comes to a stop after the burnout, the fiberglass body is raised to allow a crewman access to the engine to make an adjustment. It is a normal part of the routine for Bruce Larson. Bernstein's crew checking over the cockpit as his crew chief Dale Armstrong directs him to the proper place at the starting line. Bernstein against Bruce Larson. Start some 600ths of a second to be exact, but almost instantly it was made up by Bruce Larson. As you can see in this replay, Larson started his charge for the finish line and pulled ahead of Bernstein and stayed there.
All I can say is 5:33.
All right, we're right back on track again.
And you haven't hurt the engine. You've had a lot of motor problems.
Yeah, and this time it didn't.
Have you found something?
Yeah, we're just kind of creeping up on it. We started out soft this morning, and it looked real good, so we turned it back up the way it should run.
You know, I saw Kenny Bernstein this morning when I first pulled in the gate, and he said, Bruce Larson, that's the guy I've got to beat. He was looking ahead of you.
The tables have turned a little bit, but you never can count him out. He's good, too.
Oh, indeed. Great victory.
Thanks a lot.
Seldom do you see Bruce Larson without a smile on his face, and he is definitely happy at this moment. So is this huge crowd as they are enjoying some tremendous competition in funny car racing, as was evidenced by that Bernstein and Larson race. Our next pair on the track after their burnouts, Chuck Etchels and Whit Bazemore, the final 2 cars in round number 2. Now let's go back to the far end of the racetrack, where Steve Evans is with Kenny Bernstein.
Well, Kenny, a good close race. You knew that Bruce Larson was going to be the toughest opponent on your side of the ladder.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. He's done a great job the first 3 races, so yeah, that's the way it goes.
There's a lot of races in this season now.
Well, there is, but, he's going away, so what can I say?
You can say that Bruce Larson is making a lot of Winston points, David.
You're exactly right, Steve, and Kenny Bernstein knows how it's done. Over the years, he's done the same thing to the competition with a strong early season start. The crew checking under the Ted Compass car, driven by Whit Bazemore. Bazemore, an up-and-coming young driver from Redding, California, formerly based in the Southeast, against the veteran Chuck Etchels out of Woodstock, Connecticut. Young Bazemore is a photographer by trade who has always had a desire to be a race car driver. He went to Frank Hawley's drag racing school to learn how to do it right, and now here he is in round number 2 at the wheel of Ted Compass's Pontiac Trans Am. His competition, Chuck Etchels. And Etchels strikes the tires. Bazemore has problems. He has to lift, and Chuck Etchels recovers and takes the win. His elapsed time, only 6.006 seconds flat. That doesn't do him a lot of good when he has to race Bruce Larson in the semifinals, who drilled a 5:33 and has the lane choice. The other pair finds Ed McCulloch, who had mechanical problems on his race, against Art Hendy, who had a quick run against Oswald and the lane choice. Lots more racing coming up next at the Motorcraft Gatornationals. We're back at Gainesville Raceway in the 20th annual running of the Motorcraft Gatornationals, and you're looking in on the pit area of Darrell Gwynn, the 27-year-old Miami, Florida top fuel driver, getting his car ready for racing coming up a little bit later on today. As on the starting line, it is the fastest of the factory hot rods Pro Stock Eliminator. This is the Chevrolet Beretta of Reed Wiston from Hapeville, Georgia. He was a plumber by trade, now a professional drag racer. This is the Excite Edge Dodge Daytona of Darrell Alderman. The unique thing here in this car is this is the only Dodge in Pro Stock competition today. Alderman qualified well in the number 3 spot with a 7:34. Wisdom qualified number 7 with a very close 7:37. So this is, as it has been over the last 3 races, a matter of parity in Pro Stock racing. The cars are bunched very close together, truly can be considered a driver's race as the cars are very evenly matched. Starter Buster Couch looking on as Alderman stages in the far lane. Reed Wiston in the near lane. Chevy against Dodge. And the Dodge prevails. Darrell Alderman with a 7.35 second elapsed time, 186 miles an hour, nearly matching his qualifying performance here in the heat of the day on race day. The AC Delco entry of Butch Leal. This is a Pontiac Trans Am. His competition is Frank Iaconio, driving the Super Shop Special in also a Pontiac Trans Am. Iaconio was runner-up to Bob Glidden earlier this season at the Winter Nationals. Now let's go to the far end. Steve Evans and Darrell Alderman.
Look at that grand, Dave. Chrysler fans have waited so long for a hero in Pro Stock, and Darrell, you're at a 7:35.
7:35. I didn't think it went that fast.
Indeed it did. And this is not a Hemi. Let's clear that right up.
No, it's a B1.
Big wedge
B1 wedge motor, yeah.
And a lot of development has gone into it.
A full year of it. They worked their butts off trying to make power.
I'll let you get back to the bits.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
And make power it does. It has put Darrell Alderman into the semifinals of Pro Stock Eliminator. Now Frank Iaconio gets set. The Flanders, New Jersey-based driver, qualified in the number 4 spot with a 7:35. His competition from Blacklick, Ohio, Butch Leal, was the number 8 qualifier with a 7:37. Only a couple of hundred separating these 2 cars in their performance potential. How will the drivers respond to the green light? Iaconio has a slight advantage. A handful for both drivers, and Iaconio by a car length takes the victory. 7.42 second elapsed time. His speed 186 miles an hour. Liquid dynamite nitromethane being put in the tank by Ed McCulloch. More racing coming up from the Gatornationals.